日本時間5月30日、ドジャースの大谷翔平選手が本拠地でのフィリーズ戦に1番 DH で先発出場をしました。この日の大谷選手は5打数1安打と15試合連続出塁を記録。また、この日先発をした佐々木朗希投手は2回の先頭、ボーム選手に先制のソロ本塁打を浴びるも、5回と3分の1、84球を投げ、3安打、1四球、7奪三振、1失点、今季最速の 100.4 マイル、161.5 キロを計測するなど、圧巻の投球を見せ、今季4勝目の権利を持ってマウンドを降りました。ドジャースは8回に逆転され、試合には惜しくも敗れるも、佐々木投手の好投に現地ファンは大興奮。また、この日、ドジャース側の実況を務めたジョー・デイビス氏が、試合途中に佐々木投手の東日本大震災を乗り越えた生い立ちを伝え、SNS で感動する、泣きそうと話題を生む場面もありました。ここからは、その様子を字幕付きでご紹介します。
No surprise really to anyone that during this current run, Nomar, the Dodgers' best player, Shohei Ohtani, is also the best player in the world. And he's been on an offensive tear, showing why he is the best player in the world.
Well, early on, people were concerned, like, what's going on with Ohtani? Is it the fact that he's pitching now? Is that changing everything? Why his offense? And we were saying that he doesn't heat up till like May. When the weather heats up, he heats up. I mean, I know what that feels like. I played in a place where it was really cold. So once the weather started getting better, you start feeling good at the plate. And boy, Shohei has been heating up, swinging the bat well his last 14 games. I mean, hitting over 400, just really impressive. Driving in runs, just doing all the little things. Oh, and by the way, yeah, he is a stud on the mound as well. He's a pitcher, and boy, he looks like a Cy Young out there.
Yeah, John, I guess we'll add also the best player ever, right? Because, I mean, that's what he has shown. And the thing I love about Shohei is that he never strays away from who he is. You know, a lot of times I've been around other guys and they start thinking a little bit, oh, should I take this pitch? Oh, should I change this? Should I change that? I feel like he's never strayed away from who he is. He's going to look bad sometimes. Yeah, he gets fooled. We all get fooled as hitters, right? But he stays confident. He stays, you know what? You're going to make a mistake eventually. And guess what? Even when you don't make a mistake, I can get singles and doubles off your, you know, pitches on the corner, right? When you're pitching me tough. And he's a confident guy with 2 strikes. So he's just an all-around good hitter, you know, with power. And yeah, like Nomar said, he also pitches pretty well too.
For Roki Sasaki, you just said he has been excellent, especially in his last few, whether it's the last 2 in which he's 2-0 with a 2.25 ERA, or even if we look at his last 4 in which in 2 of those 4 starts, he's been able to get deeper into the game, throwing 6 or more innings of work. He has been in an excellent spot. Today, Dave Roberts talked about just what he's been seeing from him and how today against the Phillies lineup could be a good test for him.
I think with Roki, he's just more, I think I've seen over the last, handful of weeks, he's just more comfortable. And, whether it's the comfort leads to more success or the success leads to him a little bit, more comfortable, but more engaging, certainly with the split, kind of changing that, adding the velocity of that, I think has kind of helped the success. But, he's in a good spot.
Does this feel like a good potential test of sorts for him?
Yeah, this is a good test. Certainly they've got some talented guys over there, and, I just, expect him not to run from it and not to run from this challenge and go after these guys.
The fastball seem better to you, and how much of that is because the split's been more effective as a secondary option for most of them?
I think that the fastball has been better. And I don't know if it's because the split can kind of protect the fastball a little bit, so he has a little bit more confidence in, attacking with it than he did before.
Because of the injury last year, just the amount of time that he's played, do we undervalue how kind of early he still is in that transition?
I think so. I think so. I mean, obviously there's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of expectation us getting him over here. But he still hasn't pitched a whole lot of professional innings, and he's still young. And so I do think that, the learning curve is, I think we're probably kind of over, expecting from Roki at an early stage. But, for him, I wouldn't say he would agree with our take, and that's a good thing from the athlete.
This afternoon, I was having a conversation with Connor McGinnis, assistant pitching coach, just about Roki Sasaki and what he believes the biggest difference has been for him. So, of course, we're seeing the confidence, he's getting the results. And he said that he believes that by working on the secondary pitches, that has allowed him to be in a better position to then set up that fastball. He said that originally, especially when you look at the early numbers of this season, he felt for Roki, he was getting himself in really bad counts. Hitters were just sitting on him. They were waiting on that fastball for it to be in the zone, and then they could attack, which led to the negative results, and especially that increase of the home run ball. So for him, he's just confident. He feels really good right now. They don't have a concern as to where the velocity is at because they feel like ultimately the command is there, and that is the most important thing. So they're now just seeing for Roki the confidence and him building on that consistency. So they feel very good about him taking the ball this afternoon, guys.
And a different arsenal as well than the one we saw at the very start of the season. Kirsten, thank you very much, because it's no secret. It was a tough start to the season once again for Roki Sasaki, but then he started to take some baby steps. Here in the month of May, Nomar, he's actually making what we would call progress, because in 4 starts in May, the ERA is right around 3.5. 21 strikeouts, only 5 walks. He's now won back-to-back starts for the first time in his career. What have you seen from Roki?
Well, we keep talking about the fastball. We hear that. We hear the discussion there with Dave Roberts. He mentioned the fastball. We've said it time and time again that he has to have fastball command. It's not having control, throwing strikes, but having command. I think early on he had trouble with control, where it was just throwing strikes. Now it seems like, okay, now you build off the control, then you go to the command, and I think he's having more command and more consistency with that fastball, and it makes his off speed more effective. It makes that split finger more effective. It makes his breaking ball that he's willing to mix in there as well. And when he's also throwing those for strikes, now the opposing team can't go back into the dugout, talk to each other and say, hey, you can eliminate these pitches because he has no chance of throwing that for a strike. Now they have to be aware of 3 pitches, and that keeps him off balance and makes him more effective.
World Series MVP keeping the arm loose today as he gets ready to take the ball tomorrow afternoon on Getaway Day here at Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium. Well, as we speak, the Spurs and Thunder are playing Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. Spurs are up 3 at the half. The winner will advance to play the New York Knicks for the NBA championship. But we know this. Game 7s are the best thing in all of sports. We saw that November 1st last year when the Dodgers beat the Blue Jays. So in the spirit of Game 7s, James, we're going to have a little fun here. Let's say the Dodgers were playing Game 7 tonight. Make a case for Shohei Ohtani to be the starter for Game 7.
Yeah, I mean, my case for him is obviously what he's done this year, you know, a sub-1 ERA, and I really feel like Game 7 left a bad taste in his mouth from the pitching perspective, right? Gave up the big home run to Bichette. So I really feel like he really wants his get back. We've seen it this year. He's got Cy Young on the mind right now, as long as he can keep giving us innings, which he has been. So that's really my case for him. He's got, I mean, electric stuff. He's, you know, top 3 pitcher stuff out there. And I just really feel like he is the guy that I want out there to get Game 7.
And he was making last year's start on short rest. Nomar, you get a chance to make a case for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. This shouldn't be difficult.
He was World Series MVP, John, and rightly so. I mean, we've seen Yoshi pitch in big games since he's put in that Dodger. He pitched in big games over there in Japan. So nothing phases him. He seems to even get better the bigger the occasion. I remember the first time when they were Dodgers going to Yankee Stadium, like, oh, here's a real big test for him. And he shut them down, and it was like nothing. And then we saw it in the postseason. We saw it in the World Series last year, all the way to taking it to pitch in back-to-back days. Say, listen, we are winning this. Losing is not an option. Right. I mean, holy smokes, that's his mantra, and we know that. So that's why I gotta be Yoshi taking the mound.
He pretty much pitched every game. At least it felt that way in last year's Fall Classic. Roki Sasaki should be feeling pretty good coming into this game. He's won each of his last 2 starts. Nomar, his command has been much improved, but this is going to be a big test against a very dangerous Phillies lineup tonight.
It is going to be a test, but at the same time, he doesn't have to change. Listen, he's been doing his last 2 starts. They're big league clubs. Yeah, I know they're struggling big league clubs, but they are still big leaguers out there that can still do damage if you make mistakes. Still got to go execute, still have command of that fastball, and you still have to get strike 1. You can get that first strike early and that count be 0-1, it really helps Roki.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about strike one, especially for Roki, you know, with that split. You know, we're in an era now where you don't know what pitch you're getting in any count, you know, what the score is, how many runners are on base, it doesn't matter. So Roki does pitch to that. He said, you know, he's confident with every pitch, and I'm okay with that as long as he can establish early, okay, I know I can establish this split for strike one and get them off balance, and I can mix that fastball in later when I need to.
Roki Sasaki was excellent out of the bullpen in the 2025 NLDS against the Phillies, 4 1/3 shutout innings, 3 appearances in that series. Ricky, how can the Phillies have just better results against him tonight?
I'm going to make this plain and simple.
All right.
You don't want to get in bad counts against this guy. You start getting in 0-1, 0-2 counts, he's going to put you away because he's got a forkball and a split that he could really stick it to you. You think about his four-seam fastball, all right? He throws it 44% of the time. And so that's the one pitch I'm going up there looking for. Hitters are hitting 337 off of that four-seamer. So that's the pitch that the Phillies have to take advantage of because you look at the numbers on all the other pitches, it's well below that. And I'm talking like low twos and then into the hundreds for his off-speed stuff. And that to me just says, when I get ahead of you, I'm going to put you away with off-speed stuff. So the Phillies got to be aware of that because number one, they don't hit the off-speed stuff very well, especially when it's of the split and the forkball variety. So that could cause them a lot of troubles.
Some big adjustments hopefully this evening. Now time for the biggest star in all of baseball, the subject of stargazing, presented by Deborah Heart and Lung Center. Shohei Ohtani went 3 for 4 with a solo home run in last night's win against the Phillies. His 10th home run of the season. Ohtani has been red hot as of late, hitting over 400 with 10 extra base hits, 15 RBIs, an OPS over 1,300 in his last 14 games. And that brings us to our Make the Call, presented by Panzini and Pizzica. Ruben, the Phillies kept Ohtani under wraps last postseason. That was a huge win. Not so much last night. What's the plan tonight?
Well, you can't let him get extended. Right now, I mean, he's gotten hot at the wrong time here for the Phillies. He was really struggling the early part of the season. But when he gets extension, I mean, he can do some serious damage. He had a pretty good split from Wheeler, drove it out of the ballpark. He's hot right now. I would try to rush the ball up and in on him. They had a lot of success doing that in the playoffs. They have a lot of success doing that in the past. Don't let him get extended because when he does, look out, it's damage time. So I think they'll be okay. But just because I think Luzardo's had a lot of success against him, and he's got 2 home runs against him, but he's only like 2 for 18. So
the stats, the numbers don't lie with Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani is also sporting a 0.82 ERA and 9 starts this season. Ricky, I hate to do this to you.
Yeah.
Is he a better pitcher or a better hitter?
I don't even think this is a hard question. I think he's a better hitter. I think this is a guy that's, look, we've seen him in postseason action, not necessarily against the Phillies, but he could rake. This guy hits a ball a long way, and you know what? And he does the little things, too, which a lot of people don't understand. I mean, he's not just a home run hitter. He uses all fields. He's scary, especially when he's hot. He is, let's face it, he's the most dangerous hitter in baseball when he's hot. Now, you look at him as a pitcher. Here's the problem I have with Ohtani as a starting pitcher. 1 time a week. 1 time a week you get this guy. All these other guys, which include Wheeler and Christopher Sanchez, these guys are sometimes taking it 2 times a week, and other times, you know, they might have a 1 day, but I mean, they're taking all their starts. There's a guy in Ohtani where they're very protective of him. They don't want to overuse him. They want him for the playoffs and this and that. I'm sorry, I can't put him up on the pedestal as a pitcher right now.
I don't like it. Ruben, what do you think?
His numbers are ridiculous, though.
If he was a starting pitcher and not a hitter, he probably would be a better pitcher, I would think, because his stuff is absolutely electric. But I do agree with Ricky in so much that he's on display every single day. He can hit, he can run, he can steal bags. There's pretty much nothing he can't do. And if I were the Dodgers, I'd stick him out there in right field and let him play there for the rest of his career. Honestly, I know he is electric on the mound when he gets opportunities, but to save this guy and to keep him healthy, I'd put him in right field and just let him go.
I agree with you.
Dave Roberts has continued to say that one of the things that's impressed him about Sasaki is that he doesn't run from challenges. That he's proved himself already doing that, the way he bounced back last year, came back to pitch in the postseason. And no kind of adversity that he goes through on a baseball field is ever going to come close to what he went through as a kid. And so when you see him continue to bounce back like this is really no big deal. Stock's the first out of the 5th. When Roki was in 3rd grade, he's at school. It's a Friday afternoon. The wall started to shake. There's an earthquake. And in the village that he lived in, Rikuzen Takado is the name of the village, the fishing village. They knew that an earthquake was bad news, but the worst news was what could follow. Sirens start going off. That means there's a good chance there's a tsunami coming. So the drill at the school was the sirens go off. The teachers rush all the kids to this hill that's behind the school. They get all the kids up there. But about a half an hour after the earthquake, a 50-foot wave wipes out his entire village. So the kids are safe because they're up on this hill, but they're about the only ones. 1,800 people lost their lives. He lost his grandparents, who he was very close with. He lost his father. He lost his house. The entire town got wiped away. So he loses everything, right? I mean, he loses everything that every kid has. Strikes out Real Muto. 2 gone in the 5th. Nothing left of the town. Mom has no choice but to move him and his brothers. So they move. And that's when he starts playing baseball. Baseball becomes his escape. It becomes, he says, the one place where I could lose myself, where I could forget about everything. And so much of who he is these days defined by what he went through. The success, the failures. And the failures, they just seem smaller to a guy who's been through something like that. That day 15 years ago now, life-changing, life-defining for Roki. Adolis Garcia pops it up, right side of the diamond, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith. It'll be Will Smith to finish off a 1-2-3-5, and we're halfway home in Los Angeles.
Unfortunately, the Dodgers fall to the Phillies 4-3, but that doesn't erase what a good night this was. No more for Roki Sasaki, who continues his really good run of recent success tonight. What did you see from him?
You know, he did a really good job mixing up his pitches. We talk about fastball, had life on that fastball, better command, better location with it, and utilizing his other pitches. We're going to go to the K zone and see how he was putting guys away. And where they hit a ball, which wasn't that bad of a spot. It was probably more of the middle of the plate that he liked, but here it is, 3-2, great split finger. Expecting a fastball from him. He gets a great split finger, but look at this fastball. This fastball wasn't necessarily that bad as far as at the top of the zone. Maybe too much of the middle which you like, but at the same time wasn't too bad. They get to it and you tip your hat. But then he buckles down, still has that good breaking ball, good fastball still coming, still trusted, which that's what I really like. Is there are times where he tries to get too fine after a fastball maybe hit for a home run and then really loses that command, but he still trusted his fastball, came back after the hitters, and then was able to mix up his pitches and still pitch off of that. That is also growing. That is a good sign, because early on it was like now he's searching for fastball. It was almost like it felt like he was getting scared to even throw it, or too much hard of the plate where he tries to be so fine with it, but he still kept pounding the zone, still trusting it, and was able to be really effective down the stretch.
Yeah, I think with that fastball, a lot of times pitchers will say, okay, well, he's looking for the fastball. But if you hit the spot where you're trying to, you really feel like you've got an edge on him. And guess what? You can come back with it later, and you have this history now with him that he's got the fastball in his mind. So there's other pitches that can exploit his weaknesses as well. So I really like seeing him really pound the zone with the fastball tonight, and got 5 ground ball outs tonight, 1 fly ball out. So kept the ball down enough to get that weak contact.
Tanner, you've been excellent all year, and even when you look at kind of breaking down the numbers, you haven't given a run up in more than a month. What do you think just led to how they were able to attack you tonight?
Well, I gave up 3 tonight, and I left a pitch. I was trying to go up, and I left it more on the plate, and it wasn't out of the strike zone with 2 strikes, and he caught me.
Is it easier to flush a game like that when you've had more success this year compared to last year?
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow's a new day.
When you look at just the positives of this game, Sasaki is very much one of them. Does it feel like it's probably the most complete outing that he has had, or even just when you look at who he is right now on the mound, this is kind of the most complete picture you've seen from him?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's, I think this whole month of May, I don't know the numbers, but I know the month of May, it's been a very good month for him. It seems like every outing he continues to improve. And tonight, the velocity was where, we were hoping it would be, and so then you layer the velocity with the command, with the secondary, and then, he made the one mistake to Bohm, but outside of that, I thought he was very good.
and Sasaki really pitched well against him. This is, again, this is the second or third time that he's pitched really, really well against him, and they couldn't do very much, against the guy. But it was nice for these guys to stay with it and for the pitchers to keep these guys in the game.
And it's interesting what you're talking about, because the one thing that I could think of against Sasaki is that they were swinging outside of the zone constantly. The Phillies were chasing everything. And even against Vesia, you and I were sitting there, and Vesia is in this game, and we're saying, this guy isn't throwing a strike. And the Phillies they had the bases loaded, and then they go down like no problem.
What did you see from starting pitcher Sasaki?
I thought their guy was good. I mean, he's got good stuff. I thought our guy was really good, honestly. I thought Zeus did a nice job getting out of a little trouble there. I think it was the second or the third. Hart made the nice play at third base on the bunt. It kind of got us an out there, and then Zeus did a nice job of getting out of that. So I thought he threw the ball really good. Their guy obviously threw the ball well too.
It was not pretty for this offense, to the point where that was going to be the leading topic of this post-game show, is how can you possibly have an offense and an at-plate performance like this? Only 3 hits through 7 innings.
Yeah, 3 hits through 7 innings. They were chasing outside of the strike zone. Interestingly enough, Ruben and I were saying, don't get behind on this guy. They were behind on this guy, or even against this guy for the most part throughout the game. And he really kind of just stuck it to him. I mean, he was throwing upwards of close to 100 miles an hour with his fastball, and really good life on it. Sometimes a guy could throw 100 miles an hour and it's flat. This thing had a lot of movement, and he had a really good slider to go along with it. And then you always got to defend against that fourth ball in the splitter. So he took care of the Phillies like a hot knife through butter in this one.
It was interesting because in the very first at bat, Kyle Schwarber actually had like an 8 or 9 pitch at bat, really battled, maybe 10 pitches. And then it just seemed like Sasaki got more and more confidence as he got more and more swings and misses. And so he started going out of the zone, a lot of swings and misses in the zone, and then a ton of them out of the zone later on. And as we talked about, they got to stay in the zone to have success, because that's what happens at the end of the game. They do some damage.
いかがでしたでしょうか。このチャンネルでは日本人メジャーリーガーなどを中心に野球情報をお届けしています。この動画が良かったら高評価、チャンネル登録をよろしくお願いいたします。今回も最後までご覧いただきありがとうございました。それではまた次の動画でお会いしましょう。